All right, bro. Let's be honest. Most of us aren't lazy. We're just overstimulated. We're not burnt out. We're just fried. I mean, our phones, caffeine, junk food, they've cooked our dopamine, right? And that's why you can't focus. That's why every task just feels heavy. That's why even when you want to be disciplined, you feel like you're just dragging a 200-kilo chain behind you. So, anyways, a few months ago, I did something extreme. I ran a 7-day dopamine reset. No caffeine, no scrolling, no fake hits. Just me, my thoughts, training, a little bit of sunlight, and some silence. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it rebuilt my discipline from the ground up. Here's the truth. You've trained your brain to expect fireworks every 5 seconds. Scroll, click, stimulus, repeat. So when you try to sit down and work on something meaningful, whether that's your business, your training, your purpose, your brain's just there like, where's the hit, bro? I need more, give me more. And because you don't get that instant dopamine rush, you think something's wrong with you. You call yourself undisciplined, unmotivated, lazy. But you're not, you're just wired wrong. See, it's like trying to meditate in a nightclub. There's just too much noise. Your mind's just overstimulated, and now peace feels boring. That's where I was. Waking up tired, reaching for my phone before I even prayed. Training half-assed, half-heartedly, scrolling between sets. And it's funny, I used to call that being productive. Nah, man, that was addiction disguised as being busy. Till one night I'm sitting on my bed, phone in my hand, caffeine in my veins, anxiety through the roof. And I just caught myself. I wasn't even doing anything. Just scrolling. Just random stuff, random bullshit. And my brain was just itching to stimulation. And in that moment I said out loud, fuck this. I'm done. Let's reset. I didn't wait for Monday, didn't plan anything. I just did it. It just started. I deleted all the apps that wasn't helping me. No caffeine, no sugar, no endless scrolling. And I was like, all right, let's see who I really am when I'm not distracted. So the first 2 days, not gonna lie, it was tough. It was hell. Your brain just screams for hits. You get withdrawal, you get headaches, you get cravings. You just can't sit still. You go restless. You go to pick up your phone 100 times. It's just going off there next to you, and there's nothing to grab. That's when you realize how deep the hook runs. But here's what happens next, right? Day 3, your thoughts start slowing down. Day 4, you feel like this weird peace, like your nervous system's finally breathing again. Day 5, your focus starts to come back. And then by day 7, bro, you start to feel like a man again. You're just grounded, calm, clear-headed. Not because, you added anything new, but because you removed everything fake. It wasn't complicated. No hacks, no gadgets, no morning routine checklists. Just discipline and silence. So here's what I did. No caffeine. That was tough, right? But the mental clarity that came back, it was unreal. No social media except to post what I needed to post. I'd post, reply, and dip. No scrolling. I mean, you can ask anyone, but I'm really on there. I only on there when I need to post, obviously to build the brand, add some value and give away some game. I had my phone in the bedroom while I was in my living room working. So it was, I try to keep it away from me as far as possible. Get morning sunlight, get a bit of movement going. First thing in the morning, you want to get your blood pumping, blood moving. Journaling and prayer, first thing. Before I let the world in, I grounded myself. And I made the switch to whole foods, right? Nothing processed, none of that BS. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good double quarter pounder. I love my popcorn chicken with chicken tenders from KFC and all that. I grew up on that shit, man. I fucking love that. But I had to eat clean. I had to go simple, right? Sleep, 8 hours minimum. No negotiations. Wasn't sexy, but by the end of that week, I had more peace than I had in months. And here's what surprised me the most. When you strip away all the noise, your self-respect comes back. Because suddenly you're not chasing quick hits. You're creating your own. You start earning dopamine through effort instead of escaping through distractions. And that's the difference between weak men and strong men in 2025. A lot of guys now, and I was a victim of this myself. We're chasing dopamine, just endless nothings. But the strong guys, they create it. So I started looking forward to silence, solitude. Training felt meditative again. I wasn't fidgeting my phone between sets. Even conversations felt different, more grounded, more present. That's what a dopamine reset does. It's it's not just about productivity, it's about presence. See, when your dopamine is balanced, your discipline returns. When the confidence returns, your presence changes. See, it's all connected. Stoic mind, athletic body, magnetic presence. That's why I keep harping on about these three pillars. Because you can't fake any of it. When your mind's noisy, people can feel it. But when you're calm, when you're locked in, you don't have to say much, right? People just feel the energy. And it's wild how something as simple as a phone or the caffeine cycle can completely mess with that energy. Now, if you're hearing this and you're thinking, yeah, fuck, I probably need to do that, eh? I probably should do that. Well, here's what I do. Start small. Don't overthink it. Just commit to, just 3 rules for the next, say, 7 days. Might be no phone, first hour of the morning. Wake up, hydrate, pray or journal. Go for a walk before touching your screen. Before opening those notifications, go for a walk, get moving. Move daily. Doesn't matter what. Lift, run, walk, get on the bicycle. Just sweat it out, right? You earn more dopamine through movement, not scrolling. Phone, out of reach when you work, put it in another room. Let boredom do its job. Because boredom, and what I've noticed, that's where your focus grows. That's where I end up creating the best stuff, is when I'm bored. If you can just nail those 3 things, you'll start feeling different within 3 days. Then, once that sticks, you build from there, you keep stacking. See, most men today don't even realize they're addicts. Not to drugs, but to stimulation. You can't just sit there in silence. You can't walk without a podcast. You can't train without checking your phone between sets. But here's the reality. The strongest men are the calmest men. The men who can sit with themselves, who can focus without needing noise. That's why this matters, because if you can't control your inputs, you'll never control your outcomes. So you have to start seeing yourself differently. Don't say, I'm doing a dopamine detox. Just say, I'm the kind of man who doesn't need fake stimulation to feel alive. That's identity. That's what makes it stick. Because when your identity shifts, habits stop being effort. They become natural. It's not, I have to train. It's, this is what I do. This is who I am. It's not, I should read. It's, this is what I'm about. That's how you break the loop. So here's the truth. The 7-day dopamine reset isn't about cutting things out. It's about getting you back. Your focus, your presence, your peace. You'll realize you were never broken. You were just distracted. And once you see what you're capable of without those crutches, you're never going to want to go back. So if you want to go deeper with this and start structuring your mind, your body, and your presence all together, just grab the free 7-day masculine reset. It's literally the framework that I wish I had when I started this journey. Links below. Run the dopamine reset, then run the masculine reset. And watch what happens when you rebuild your discipline from peace instead of pressure. Catch you guys in the next one.